Have you ever noticed how the internet is full of ripped guys smiling inside a BMW, holding a Rolex, saying their life changed after they flipped the switch? It's just about changing your mindset, they say. All you need is discipline, they guarantee. But what about you? Have you ever tried applying that? Looked in the mirror after watching one of those videos and thought, damn, maybe I'm the problem? Because that's the message these contents send, even if subtly. You don't have success because you're not trying hard enough. Simple as that. Straightforward. Cold. Almost cruel. But is it really that simple? Is everyone who doesn't wake up at 5 a.m. and doesn't take cold showers a failure? Is everyone who doesn't post a gym picture with a powerful caption doomed to mediocrity? And here's the most important question: who's profiting from your guilt? Because while you feel bad for not being focused all the time, there are people making loads of money selling courses on waking up early and winning. So, is the problem really you or the narrative? Stick with me until the end, because maybe, just maybe, what you call lack of discipline is something completely different. So you get excited, you watch that motivational video, feel the blood boiling, clench your fist and say, now it's going to happen. You wake up early, take a cold shower, say no to pizza, yes to salad, become a monk, a Viking, unstoppable. The first 2 days seem magical. You're in control, finally. But then, on the third day, fatigue hits. On the fourth, anxiety creeps in. On the fifth, you just wanted to watch one episode and end up binge watching 5. And before you know it, it's 3 a.m., your hand is in the popcorn bag, and your face is glued to the screen, scrolling TikTok like it's hypnosis. That energy for change turns into frustration. That blind faith turns into self-blame. And here it comes, the voice in your head. I'm a failure. I can never make it. Lack of discipline. But is that really the case? Is the problem you? Or did someone sell you an impossible path to maintain? Why does this cycle repeat so many times? Why does that initial excitement always seem to evaporate? Hold on, breathe. It's not just you. There's a much deeper reason behind this fall, and it starts in your head. It's time to talk about the most misunderstood word on the internet: discipline. How many times have you heard that you just lack discipline? But what is this discipline anyway? Because the way they sell it out there, it sounds like superhero stuff, like it's some magical force that makes you get out of bed with the sun rising, run 10 kilometers, eat chicken with sweet potato, and still smile in the mirror. But let me tell you a secret. That kind of discipline doesn't exist. And I can say this with authority. I've been down there, in the bottom of the pit. Depression, obesity, porn addiction, junk food, no energy, no purpose. You know what didn't get me out of that hole? Discipline. Because the kind of discipline they talk about requires a strength that someone who's broken simply doesn't have. And that's not weakness, that's reality. So why do they keep repeating this narrative? Why do they keep blaming people for not being able to get out of bed, as if it's just willpower? Maybe it's because selling a magic solution is easier than facing what really transforms someone. Change is possible, I've lived it. But it didn't start with cold showers, it started with something else. Something no one talks about properly. Let's understand what truly helps someone rise from the bottom of the pit. Because it's not discipline. It's another key, and it's closer than you think. But then, if discipline isn't the answer, why is it so hard to change? Have you ever really asked yourself that? Because check this out. Everyone wants to change to have a better life. Right? More health, more money, more self-esteem, more peace. So why, when it's time to act, do we freeze? Why does the brain sabotage everything and pull us back into old habits? The answer is simple, but deep. Your brain wants comfort. And it's not because you're lazy, it's because it's been programmed that way. Think with me, if the goal of working hard is to chill, why not skip straight to the chilling part? This logic confuses the mind. The brain is doing math all the time. How much effort does this require? How much pleasure do I get from this right now? And if the math doesn't add up, it's going to push you toward the easier path. The couch, the phone, fast food, immediate pleasure. Changing is hard not because you're weak, but because your brain was made to conserve energy. It wants to repeat what it already knows. It loves shortcuts. Now think, how many times have you tried to change without knowing this? How many times have you blamed yourself for behavior that was actually your brain just trying to protect you? This is where many people give up, but you don't have to fall into that trap again. The turning point comes when you understand what's really at stake. And believe me, it's not discipline, it's something else. Okay, so if it's not discipline, what is it then? Let's lay it all out. Discipline, habit, motivation. Everyone talks about these three like they're the same thing, but they're not, and understanding the difference can change everything. Let's start with discipline. The way they taught you, it seems like a muscle. Just push, and eventually it'll grow. But in reality, willpower-based discipline has an expiration date. It's like a battery. It works until it runs out. Have you ever tried to follow a routine by force? Waking up suddenly, training tired, eating without desire, forcing everything. It works for 3 days, 4 at most. Then the castle crumbles. Now, what about habit? Habit is something else. It's when the action becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth, like driving. You don't think, you just do. The good news? Habit is stronger than discipline. The bad news? Creating a habit requires something that comes before it, and that's where motivation comes in. But hold on. Don't confuse it with excitement. Motivation isn't that Monday morning energy after watching an inspiring video. True motivation is the reason for action. It's clarity, it's meaning, it's knowing why you're doing it. You know what's more curious? Your brain doesn't have a discipline area, but it does have an entire circuit just for motivation. It's this circuit that makes you get out of bed to run or stay up until 4 a.m. binge watching a series. The hard behavior and the easy behavior both come from the same place. Motivation. So the real question isn't how to have more discipline, it's what's my strong enough reason to keep going when it gets hard? Because if that reason is weak, you'll quit. But if it's strong, action becomes almost inevitable. Now that you know the difference between discipline, habit, and motivation, I'll give you examples to show how all of this works in practice. Imagine the person who runs 10 kilometers in the rain. They're not being disciplined, they're motivated. They woke up, looked out the window and decided that no matter the weather, they'll run. Their motivation? Maybe a clear goal, like improving health or overcoming a personal challenge. Now, think of the person who can't stop watching a series. They watch 10 episodes in a row, even knowing they need to wake up early. This is also motivation, but for a different goal, avoiding discomfort, distracting themselves, seeking immediate pleasure. Both examples have motivation, but in different forms. And what happens when the motivation is strong? Continuous action. Now imagine the motivation is weak. It's that desire to eat a pizza after a tiring day, but you know you shouldn't. When motivation is weak, the action is almost always giving up. And that's why it's pointless to have discipline if the reason behind the action isn't clear, strong, and real. Now, if you've made it this far, and realize that motivation is the real fuel for your actions, you might be wondering, but what happens when motivation runs out? Because let's be honest, everyone's been there. That initial enthusiasm that fades away. Doubt starts to creep in. Is it really worth it? This is where motivation starts to crumble. Those internal doubts are like a black hole for motivation. They suck you in, make you question everything, even what seemed right. And then, what seemed like a clear mission starts to feel like a burden. Here's an example that might make you reflect. Infidelity in a relationship. It's not a lack of discipline. It's a lack of certainty, a lack of clear motivation about what you really want. If you don't have solid motivation behind your actions, doubt begins to erode everything, and motivation goes away. But here's the key. When you have a strong enough reason, even doubts lose their power, and motivation renews itself. So, what do you need to do? Discover your why. And it's not just any why. It's a real deep reason that will keep you standing when doubt arises. Now that you understand how motivation works, the question is, what's your true reason? That's the secret to keeping your motivation from running out. And when it doesn't run out, action becomes inevitable.